welcome to Mrs. U Makes. I'm Diane, aka Mrs. U, and this is my July roundup. It's a little later than I expected to be recording, simply because it's the summer holidays and it's difficult to find an opportunity to do any recordings when you have children running around the house. Today is the 10th of August, I believe, and it is 8:25 in the evening. My husband came home from work about an hour ago, so I just decided to try and do a recording now whilst I have the chance and before it gets too far into the month. This roundup, it probably won't be as long as some of my others. I've only have a couple of finished objects to show and a handful of other items to show you. As I said, it's the summer holidays, so there hasn't been a whole lot of crafting or like knitting or crochet going on as I normally would be doing. So let's just get started before I get any interruptions. So yeah, let's get started with done and dusted. The first finished object I have to show you is my July socks, or are my July socks. These are also the first socks that I have designed, and I have called these Overlapping. Just see if I could get, I know the lighting isn't great, so I try to get the best picture that I can. Ooh, there. Okay, I'll take them off the blockers, see if that also helps. There we go. Oh, yeah. So as I said, the pattern is called Überlappen, which in German means to overlap, and that name just comes from the type of stitch pattern that's used within the socks. For these I've used Rosie's Moments yarn. It's a yarn I picked up during the Unravel yarn festival that took place in Farnham. As you can see, they are ankle socks. I did this because I'm not able to buy as so much yarn at the moment. I wanted to try and make sure I had enough yarn to make another pair of socks that could possibly be my August socks, or could just be another pair of socks to make up the socks needed in order to enter the box of socks cowl taking place at the Yarngasm podcast. For that you need to have at least 12 pairs of socks at the end of the month, and because I gave my niece my March socks, it means I'm one pair of socks down. So I've used I made ankle socks, and I ended up using, I think it was 42 grams, I believe, yeah, 42 grams of yarn in order to make these. So yeah, the other half of the scheme will go towards another pair of socks, which I've already started, and I will show you that in a moment. So yeah, the pattern for this will be released once I've finished the other socks I'm making using the same yarn. So I'm hoping that will be end of this month or sometime beginning or mid-September. So yeah, look out for those. I will be posting more information about that on Instagram, so if you are following me you can see more about it there, and I will put up another picture, a picture of this somewhere, maybe around here if I haven't already done so, so you can get a better look at these. Yarn details. One moment, let me just get my notes, my other project notes, and then I'll give you more details about the yarn. Okay, so got my notebook. So as I said, the yarn is Rosie's Moments, and the colorway is Splashes of Color. as you can see, there's little dashes of orange, like golden, yellow, some reds as well in there, and some purples too. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that with the lighting. And the yarn is superwash BFL and 80% and 20% nylon. You get 425 meters per 100 gram, which I thought was great. And as I said, I used 42 grams of yarn for these socks, which was about just under 184 yards. So yeah, I am in the middle, well, kind of in partway through the next pair using this yarn, and though I should have enough to make another pair of ankle socks, it's looking as if just the way I'm seeing the ball of yarn, it looks like it could be too small, but based on the weight and the yardage, this should be enough. So we'll just see how that goes. What other information can I give you about this? I think that's everything I've covered. Oh, the for the cuffs, normally I would do about 20 rows, but I've done fewer rows for the cuffs here. I did more rows in the leg just to see how the fit would be, and the toe, this was a toe up sock, and I did that because I wanted to use as little yarn as possible, so I worked it as a toe up, and as soon as I got to the point where I thought it would be short but not too short, then I started working the cuffs, and that's the same reason why I worked fewer rows for the cuffs, just to try and save yarn for the next pair of socks. So yeah, as I said, this will be released hopefully the end of the month. And just for your information, that's the card for the yarn. Let me get closer. There, Rosie's Moments. Yeah, it's a great yarn to work with. I'll definitely recommend it. I'd have another skein of hers in a Star Wars themed yarn that I will be using for a shawl, so look out for that one. Next is one I showed you last month in the last roundup, which was kind of finished but not properly, and it is the Cali cardigan. When I showed it to you last, I had I'd finished everything and I'd seamed everything together, sewn all the pieces together, but I hadn't done any ends or added the buttons. It's difficult to show now. Oh, let me get a hanger. Okay, I have a hanger now, and it's a lot better to see. So yeah, so here's the Cali cardigan, made using Sublime yarns, and the pattern is also from Sublime as well. So as I was saying, last time we saw it, I hadn't added the buttons or seamed, weaved in the ends, but this is a button I picked up in the fabric store, that I believe I mentioned that in the last roundup. So I bought 2 of these, and then on the inside I suppose there's another button, but for that one I've just used a basic bog standard button that I had at home already. You can either wear it like this, or wear it so that this piece is flipped over and buttoned there, and the inner piece is flipped over and buttoned there. If you check out my Ravelry project page, you can see a picture of that there. I won't add a picture now just to save me time when editing. But yeah, I haven't blocked this yet just because of the weather. It's not something I'm going to wear right now. I've tried it on and worn it around the house a little, and it does get very, very warm. So when it gets closer to the cooler period, then I'll block it so that I can show it off. So yeah, I've only got those two projects or items finished from July, and so far this month I don't think there's anything I've finished. Well, there's one thing, but that's going to be in the August roundup. So that's all my finished objects done. Okay, now moving on to on the needles and all hooked up. And the first items I have that are on my needles, I don't actually have to show you. They are in the living room, and if I go in there, one of the boys or all of the boys will start bombarding me with questions, and little miss, if she's not asleep already, will want to come with me. So I'm just hiding in here and hoping nobody comes to ask me any questions or to tell me what's going on, or simply just to see where I am and what I'm doing. Yeah, so those particular projects are the Atlas jumpers by Jared Flood that I'm making for the triple artists. I've done more progress with the one for Mr. That one is getting close to the colourwork section on the yoke. So the other two, I've only just worked the hem. For that jumper, it starts off with a tubular cast on, which is something I haven't done before, and the instructions for that are very, very straightforward, though I haven't actually taken off the scrap yarn yet. I've left that in there just in case it doesn't work. But I was given a good tip by Brownberry of the Brownberry Chronicles, and she said just to try and make a small swatch using the same method, and then you can take the provisional, the scrap yarn out of that, and then from that you'll see whether or not your technique worked. So I haven't done that yet, but I will once I've got most of these other projects off the needles. Then I'll give that a try, and if it works, then I might take the yarn out of the one for Mr., since that one is furthest along. But having said that, in the project they do say that leaving the scrap yarn in prevents the hem from overstretching. And since Mr. is very slight, very, very slight, he's tiny, since he's very small, I might leave his one in, but then maybe take one of the others out just to make sure everything is okay, instead of getting all the way to the end of the project, taking it out, and then finding out I've made a mistake and the cast on is begins to rip out. So yeah, I'll probably do that. I'll insert pictures here sometime to show you what those three look like, but yeah, I'm not gonna go to the living room and get them now. What else can I say about that? Let me check my notes. Yeah, I think I mentioned last month that I'm knitting them simultaneously, so once I get to the colourwork section on Mr.'s jumper, I will then work the same work up to the same point on the other two, so that way each one is finished at the same time. And I'm also doing it that way because I've only got one pair of needles in the size that I'm using. I'm sure there's another pair somewhere, but it's either being used on a project or it's lost or I've given it away. And I'm not sure also whether the cable length is the size that I need. I was going to try and use magic loop, but whenever I've used magic loop on jumpers, I don't like the way it feels. I don't mind magic loop with socks, but on jumpers it just feels a bit weird. The tension on the sides where the cables are coming out always seems to be a bit too loose. So yeah, I'm just trying to stick with needles that's with a cable size is what's the word, appropriate for the circumference of the jumper. So yeah, that's that. My next whip, sorry about that, my next whip is my July-August shawl, and that, as I said in the last one, is the Lioness on the Line pattern by Midwinter Yarns, and I'm working that in Ulcentrum yarn. I know the colour isn't great, but if you check my previous roundup, or if you check out my project page on Ravelry, you'll be able to see better pictures there. The yarn itself, let me get to that page. It's 100% Swedish wool. It's a 2-ply yarn, and you get on average 300 meters per 100 grams. Now going on to the Ravelry Group page for Midwinter yarns, I discovered that when Ulcentrum make up each skein, they don't do it by weight, they do it by the length, so that way they ensure that everybody has enough to be able to make the patterns from the yarn, because the patterns themselves are not sold separately. You get the patterns free when you buy the yarn, so they always make sure that they always make up the skeins based on the length and not the weight. So my the weight I've got for each of these skeins, I always try to weigh my yarn before I use it, just to see exactly how much I've got. For this one, which is cold grey, when I first bought it, I weighed it and it was 112 grams. Now it's showing as 110, so I'm not sure why the difference is there. So I'm going with the 110 weight. And this sort of bluey one is Blue Blend, and for that, again, when I first bought it, I weighed it and it was 106 grams. Now it's 104. So I'm not sure if there's something wrong with my scales, either now or then, but I'm going with the current weight I've got now. So yeah, but for both of them I have over 100 grams, which is great. These yarns are a gradient. I know it will be difficult to see now. I'm not sure if you can see. The outside part is a darker blue, then you have a lighter blue, and then a purple. And as this is a center pull yarn, I've started with a dark blue, so next it will begin to go into a purple shade. And with this it's the same, this is just from darker to a lighter shade of grey. So I can't remember if this is going to get darker or lighter. So I'm waiting still to see. I think the grey here is going darker, but you know, it will be difficult for you to see because of the lighting. But again, you can check out my Ravelry project page and see pictures, better pictures of that. If I'm able to, I will put up a picture here somewhere. And on this, I've got my two stitch markers. One is of a sheep. I'm not sure how I was going to show. And the other is of key with a ball of yarn on top. The sheep I received, I think it was from Rosie's Moments when I ordered some yarn from her. Okay, so that's that. I think that's all the information I have for that one. Again, let me double check. This is very, very last minute, as you can see, but I wrote up my notes a few days ago, so at least that's written there. Yeah, so that's everything on that. So yeah, July, August, sure, I'm hoping to finish by the end of August, but there is something that is slowing me down, and that is this. It's another shawl. This, I think I started on the 1st of the month. It's called a gondola, and it is part of a mystery cal being hosted by Anakin Alice of Yarn Addict Annie. She's a well-known shawl designer. She has so many shawl patterns available, and this when I saw this, apologies, there was a bit of noise going on out there, so I decided to pause rather than get disturbed by someone. So yeah, completely forgotten where I was, so I'll just start again. This is the gondola. It's part of the gondola cal being hosted by Anakin Alice of who is Yarn Addict Annie on Ravelry. It's a free mystery cal. That's what I was going to say before. It's a free mystery cal. At the moment she has, I think she might have released part 3. I think she said she was going to do it around about this time, so she may have released part 3 already, but definitely by the time I put this up she most likely would have released part 3. So yeah, so all you have to do to take part is go onto Ravelry and download the pattern from there. Again, it's gondola. And that will be freely available up until the end of August. After that point, anybody after that, once the pattern has been, I'm not sure if she's going to close the participation at the end of August, or if at that point it will no longer be free. I'm not too sure, but what she has said is that once it's been sent to a tech editor and the finalized version has been released, all those who signed up in August will receive a copy of the proper pattern for free. So yes, I think it may be that she's planning on finishing it at the end of the month. So yeah, as you can see, it's a lace shawl, and the first part of the pattern was the cast on, and this small section here above, where is it, yeah, above the lace, and then part 2 is this whole lace section. I'm currently 5 rows away from completing part 2. Yeah, so far it's been going great. I've only made a couple of mistakes, but because she's given tips about using stitch markers to separate each of the repeats, it's made it easier for me to fix them. I almost forgot to say, she releases each part through Periscope. So when she releases another part, she does a scope and then does a short run through of that particular part of the pattern. For example, with the first part, she explained how to do the cast on that she used. I can't even remember the name of the cast on now, but I'll put that in somewhere around here. But yeah, she did a tutorial on Periscope explaining how to work the cast on, and then for part 2 she did a short tutorial on the lace pattern. She's also recently released, was it released or published, I'm not sure how to describe the periscoping thing. She's also done a periscope explaining how her design process with regards to moving on to part 3. Yeah, moving on to the next chart that will be coming out. So it's great to see just how a pattern like this develops, because I've been thinking of designing my own shawl. Not that I would do a lace shawl, at least to start with, but it's great just to see how her process goes, and she is designing this whole shawl as she goes along, so even she doesn't really know exactly how it's going to turn out when it's completely finished. So it's great just to see that whole process and just what her thinking is behind what she does. The yarn I'm using for this is, again, the lighting isn't good at all. Definitely I will put a picture in of this and of the yarn I'm using for this, because the lighting is not good at all. The yarn I'm using is Town End Alpaca. I'll explain what I've done with the skein in a moment. Yeah, it's Town End Alpaca. I picked up 4 mini skeins of this at Unravel, and there was a kind of orangey one, a red one, a purple and blue. I was going to use them in a design pattern for a shawl and then put them together with a neutral tone, but when I saw this I just decided I might as well use it up, and it's just an extra shawl. It won't be part of my one shawl every 2 month plan, or whatever you want to call it, but it's just because it was a knit along, a mystery knit along, and it was free. I just thought, okay, you know what, take part. It's a great way to improve my lace knitting skills, because previously whenever I worked anything in lace I always make major mistakes, and there'll be sections that don't look anything like the pattern should. But so far with this, I think because of the way she's presented the pattern and explained the steps and the tips regarding the stitch markers, and because of this, it means that I haven't, even though I have made mistakes, I've been able to easily correct them. So yeah, this is, I think it's Town End Alpaca. It's UK pure alpaca, I think the specific yarn is. I think it's a 4-ply yarn. I have, oh, it's in here. There were different weights for each mini that I had. For the orange one, it was 25 grams, and that will be very, very difficult for you to see now, but I stopped the orange section around here. That's where the orange section stopped. So yeah, around there. So I'm now onto the second mini skein, and what I did, because this is 100% wool, I used the fusion method to join the ends together, so that way I wouldn't have to worry about having to weave in ends, especially having ends sticking out at the lace section. That was one of the issues I thought I might have, but I realized that I could just join them together using the fusion method. And for you, those of you who don't know about that, I actually have a blog post about it. I'll put a link up for that towards at the bottom in the drop down box thingy. But just to quickly go over it, is where you felt the it's called the felted method, not the fusion method. Felted joint, that's it. It's where you wet the ends of the 2 ends of the yarn, overlap them and just rub them between your hands. How you wet them is quite interesting or disgusting. Well, the method that most people use, especially if they're making the garment themselves. I won't say what that method is. I'll allow you to read the blog post and discover that for yourselves. But yes, I did do that particular method of felting the two ends together. So yeah, it just means that you have a nice seamless join, and you don't have anything to weave in. So the next color after this red one, I think it will be the purple one. So whilst this, looking at it now, I can kind of see where the colors change. But if you were to, obviously you can't, you probably cannot see that. Maybe you can a little bit. It looks maybe slightly, it'll be difficult, but it's basically where you can see that darker, slight shadiness on it. I'm not sure if that's just a shade from the light or if that's just a colour change. But anyway, yeah, even in pictures, when I'm taking pictures, it's difficult to tell the difference between the reddish yarn and the orange toned one. But with the next one, it'll be a lot more obvious when the colour change takes place. I'm just hoping it's not obvious that the colour change has taken place in the middle of the road, because I'm not going to have the new colour, or I'm not going to try and make it so that the new colour starts at the beginning of the road. Just whenever it ends, it ends. I'm going to felt the two ends together and continue on so that I can use every bit of this, because I'm not sure, even though in terms of the weight and the yardage I have enough to make up the pattern, but I don't want to take that chance that I could be, you know, a meter or so out. So I'm going to use every bit of this. So the felted join is the way to go. I think that's really everything you said, or that I can think of with that. Oh, the second, for this one, I have 37 grams. The other two were in my wardrobe. I'm not going to bring them out to say how much I have of those. I'll let you know about that once in the next roundup, but I can't think of anything else. I'm just checking my notes on the laptop. Yeah, I think that's everything that needs to be said about that. So yeah, if you haven't joined up already, do go and join this knit along. It's the gondola, no, just gondola is the name of the pattern, and through there you'll be able to download the pattern. Every time she releases another part, you have to go and download it yourself. I know some, normally Ravelry tells you if there is an update to a pattern, but just discover that that only takes place with purchased paid for patterns. So since it's a free pattern, you don't get told about the update. You just have to go yourself and see that there's an update. So yeah, check that out on Ravelry. Join the Ravelry group. Yeah, and join it. I've got one more whip, and that is the next pair of socks using the, sorry, there's just lots of screaming going on. I hope it's someone playing around. Yeah, I think it's just someone playing. Yeah, the park, our local park, is just our back garden is here. Well, not that we have a back garden, but the back of the house is here, and then the other houses are there, and then that street is where the park is. So whenever there's things going on there, or lots and lots of kids playing, you can sometimes pick up noise, so that could be where it's coming from, or someone just having a bit of fun in their garden. So yeah, so these are the socks I'm making using the remainder of the Rosie's Moments yarn. This is the front. This is the front of it. I know you won't be able to see that clearly because of the lighting, but yeah, that's the best I can do for now. as you can see, there's only one sock on the needle. Normally I do knit 2 at a time, but for the overlapping socks I did do those 1 at a time, simply because of the pattern. I didn't want to work 2 of them and discover I needed to change something in the pattern, so I did them 1 at a time. With these I did start this off 2 at a time, and earlier today I switched to working 1 at a time. I'm not sure if it was just from working these 1 at a time and just seeing how quickly one sock knit up. It just seemed to be a little slow going working these 2 at a time. So since it was this afternoon, I switched to working these 1 at a time, and from that point it did seem to kind of speed along a little bit. So I'm going to work this up until the heel section, and then I will do the other foot, which is here, and work this up into the heel section, and then I'll do each heel individually, and then I might go back to working 2 at a time to do the remainder, depending on how much yarn is left. I haven't decided whether the leg part of the sock is going to be the same in terms of length as the other one. I might just work it up until I have enough yarn left to add to my mitre square blankets, or I might just use the whole thing. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. I do have a name for these socks, but with the Überlappen socks being in German, I'm not sure whether to stick with the German theme for these or use the English. Yeah, I'll wait and see when they finish. At the moment I'm thinking to stick with the English, but then going with the German will kind of tie them together, but then there's no real reason to do it in German. I'm obviously not German. I did learn German in school, but that was many years ago. But yeah, there's no real link to Germany or anything like that. It was just because I liked the name Überlappen. That was the only reason why I went for that. So yeah, I'll just see at the end. Once they've made up, I'll make a decision on that. Okay, I think that is all of my whips. Yes, it is. Yeah. So as I said before, these will be published together with Überlappen once they've been finished, written up and been tested. Okay, so I will now clear some of these things away and we will move on. Okay, goodies galore. I do have some goodies, but it's not really a galore of goodies. Last month there were quite a few things mainly because of the Third Vault Yarns quarterly yarn club. This month I've only got 3 items. It would have been 4, but one of them again is in my wardrobe and I don't feel like fishing it out, and it's not really necessary to do so. The first one, it'll be this one, I'll show you. When I started the Atlas jumpers for the boys, I realised that I needed smaller needles, so I had to buy a pair, and I picked up 2 pairs of these. These are Addi, are these the just said Addi lace needles. I'm not sure they're the same as the sock rockets. I have a 3mm pair here, and I've also got I think it was a 3.5. The 3.5 are currently on one of the Atlas jumpers. Yeah, I liked how these worked. They weren't as sharp. They're not as sharp as the high-highers, but they still work really nicely. I might get a pair of 2.25 so that I have another pair of needles for making socks, even though I don't really have plans to be making having 2 socks on needles at the same time. It's just, you know, just in case I felt like doing so. So yeah, that's them. The other thing I had come through the door, again relating to the Atlas jumpers, because the yarn I got that was going to be for Mr's jumper, the colour didn't really suit him. I ordered another shade. After showing him pictures of finished objects on the Ravelry projects page for the pattern, he said he wanted an orange one as his main colour, and then green as one of the contrasting colours. So I picked him up on orange yarn. So it's the same make as the other two, the Adriaphil Azura, but it's in an orange colorway, and you could be able to see the color if you check out the picture of those. So yeah, the only other yarny thing I had is this, and this is part of the For the Love of Yarns crochet hook club. I completely forgot about this until it came to my door on the 1st of August, and I looked at the window, saw the postman at the front door, and I could see the box in his hands, and I thought, hold on, that can't be the club box. And then I went to open it, and then when I saw it, I just thought, oh my goodness, I didn't pay for the club box. So I had to quickly go and then send an email just to apologise to them because I hadn't made payment for it, and then made payment, of course. There wasn't a specific name given for the colourway for this, but there was a mention of watermelon and cocktail, so I'm just referring to this as a watermelon colourway. The needle is, so not needle, hook. The hook is size 5 hook, 5mm hook, and you can see there's lots of sort of a tie-dye 70s sort of effect with some glitter. I think compared to last month's one, I don't like this as much as last month's one, but I do like it as more than the first one I got, which was just the pink and glittery one. The yarn I do like. I like the colours in that, and again, it's not really my colourway in terms of like the bright colours, the pinks and the yellows together and everything, but overall I think it's nice, and the fact just because it's going into the blanket is not something I'm going to use for an item. Again, it's just nice to have the different types of colours in the blanket. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't know if I'm going to go for the August club box yet. I have to wait and see if I do go with that. One club box I'm not going to go for is the 3rd Volt Yarns one. It's time for the next quarter, and for this one it's the Hunger Games. I would love to be able to do it, but I'm not in a position to do so. So I was looking forward to getting it, but I have to put other priorities first. I'm hoping I will be able to go for the December one, whatever that is. Even if it's something that I haven't heard of, I will try and go for that. So at least I can say I got 3 out of the 4 club packages. I think that is it in terms of goodies and everything. Let me see. Yes. Next it's just waiting in the wings, and then to go for the month, and we're done. Okay. So yeah, waiting in the wings. Sorry, just reading my notes. Okay, yeah. The only real projects I have planned, or sort of planned, one is a blanket for I have a relative who is expecting, and they have asked me to if I can make some things for them, which I am very happy to do. So one of the things I'm going to make is a crochet baby blanket. It's going to have similar similar elements to the Afia blanket that I made for Little Miss. And as well as that, I will make a few other things like hats and booties and stuff. I've made one hat, I can't remember where I put that. It could be in, we went to the beach on Saturday. It was the boys' birthday on Saturday, their 6th birthday on Saturday, so we went to Margate, and I took along with me some things to projects to work on, and the yarn I used to make the hat I took along to make some baby socks. I can't remember if I put the hat in that bag with those items, or if I put it away somewhere else. And that bag, again, with some of the along with the Atlas jumpers, is in the living room, hanging on the back of the living room door. So I'm not going to go and fish for it now. I'll have a check later because I do need to look at that. It's the same hat I mentioned just earlier. It's sort of a design project. So I think it was a while ago on my blog, I mentioned, I wrote that I wanted to put together an ebook of crochet baby hats. So that's one of the ones that will go in that. Yeah, so I'll do a few more hats, some booties, and that blanket. And I have one garment item that I've already made that I will send, but that's something that I initially made for a friend, but then didn't get round to seaming together and sending to them. So it's been sitting there, and their baby is way too old to fit into it now, so I'll send that to her. I'll just have to seam it together and send it off to her. And I might make, there's one or two other baby cardigans I've seen that I may make up and give to her as well. Other than that, it will be my August socks. I know I'm making socks now, but these ones, this sock, I'm not, at least for the moment, I'm not counting it as my August socks. It's just a design project. I didn't want to leave it too late before making it and writing up the pattern and everything, so I'm just doing it now. So if I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible so that I can make a start on my August socks. For them, the yarn I'm using, one second. Okay, not you. Okay, I've got it. The yarn I'm going to use might be this. It's an acrylic yarn I've had for quite some time. It's King Cole Haze, I think. On the label it says it's DK, but it is looks quite thin. It looks quite fine. So what I'm going to do is, I might have used some of this in another project. So, sorry, I have a box here where I keep all my old acrylics from when I started knitting. So at the moment they are what I use for making baby items and for practicing stitches. So yeah, that particular one, I may have used it for another project. I think maybe a cardigan for Little Miss, or there might have been something in the past I made. So I'm going to check what the tension was on that. If it did come up to a DK, a standard DK, then I might still use it for the socks, but it just means changing the adjusting the needles or the stitches that I use. If it doesn't, then I'll just use it. I'll use my standard sock measurements and everything. But yeah, I haven't decided what pattern I'm going to use and whether it will be a design one or an already out there pattern. Most likely it will be an already published item pattern, just to make things quicker and easier for me. But yeah, that's all I have planned in terms of projects at the moment. And that's it. I'm not sure how long I've been here. Ooh, wow, a bit longer than I thought. What time is it now? Coming up to 9:20. Okay, almost an hour. So yeah, that's all I have in terms of projects. And I have just remembered that I did not say anything. I didn't really introduce myself properly at the beginning of the roundup. I'm Diane, as I said. Most social media platforms I am Mrs. You Makes, and a few of them I am YummyTripletMummy, but that will be written up somewhere. There's also a Ravelry group on Ravelry, and that's Mrs. You Makes. There are a few handful of people on there, so it'd be great to see more people join in the group, and also just to get the conversation going as well. I have a few threads on there regarding my projects that you might have made, or just any other project you might have made, current projects, things like that, and other threads relating to recipes and other things you wish to share. So, you know, head over, join and take part in that. I think that's all really. Just the word for the month left. So I will clear these things and come back to you for that. Okay, now it's time for the word for the month. I like to, just be comfortable. I like to share a little bit of scripture at the end of each of these roundups. Now, if this isn't for you, you are more than free to leave now. But do please check out my other videos. I have some recipes and crafty tutorials. Check out the Ravelry group, and also even check out my blog. Look at my previous blog post as well. So if you are going to leave now, hope you have a great rest of the day. And for those of you who are staying, one thing I've been doing lately is trying to read a proverb, one of the chapter of Proverbs a day, since there's basically one for every day of the month, and then from that just taking a couple of verses just to use that as something just to think of and meditate over for that day. One of them that I have was from the 3rd of August, and that's one that really I thought about quite a bit, so I thought it would be great just to have that as the word for the month. It is Proverbs 3 verse 3 to 4. Don't ever forget kindness and truth, wear them like a necklace. Write them on the heart as if on a tablet. Then you will be respected and will please both God and people. I think this is a great passage, because it's just something that reminds us how we should be towards other people, that we should always display kindness and truth towards others. And I think the last part just really sums that up. It says you will be respected and will please both God and people. Some people think that respect comes from having a particular type of attitude, or they have the attitude that everybody has to respect them before they themselves give respect to other people. But from this, when you show kindness and truth toward other people, you show that you're giving that person respect, and when people see that you are respecting them, they in turn will just naturally respect you. It's not something that you have to demand from someone. And also when it says, going back to it, about you will please both God and people, it's always those people who you know were kind, were generous, always had an open heart, will also always maintain their integrity. They're always the people who you will look back fondly on. But those who, no matter how prominent or how much of a status that they had, if they themselves weren't people who showed kindness towards others, at the time they're gone, all you'll hear people say is like, oh my gosh, they were like this and they were like that. Oh, do you remember that time they did this terrible thing? They will just start, all they have are bad things to say about those people. But when you get somebody who does have that kind heart, have that generous heart, the time when they go, or if something terrible happens to them, all you hear are people with nothing but good words to say about them, people who are willing to come and help them and stand by them because they know the heart of this person. They know that this person would have done the same thing for them as well. So just for this month, just to know that it's always, I think, first and foremost, show that respect towards others, even if maybe their beliefs aren't the same as yours, even if they've done something to offend or annoy you. Remember that they are still a person and they still deserve to be treated kindly. They still deserve to receive the truth from you. They still deserve for you to uphold your integrity and the things that you believe in. Do what you say that you will do regarding that person or any type of situation that you will be in. Don't let there be times when that person doubts the words that you're saying, because when it gets to that point, it shows that they don't trust you or that you don't seem to be a trustworthy person. But if you can maintain that standard, then you will always have the respect of those people, even if you do something they don't like. If they see that you haven't gone back on your word, that you're not being a hypocrite, or that within your actions, even though they may not like it, but your actions have shown that you've done something out of love, even then they'll still have that respect for you, because they'll see that you are still the person you say you are. You've maintained that characteristics within yourself. You haven't done one thing and said the other. So I hope for this month that's something that I myself will carry through, just to carry through kindness and truth, and just always to try and give that respect towards other people, not just in my actions but also in things that I say. So yeah, so that's the end for this month. I hope you've enjoyed this roundup. Do check out the other videos, check out the Ravelry Group, and also subscribe to this channel so that you can get updates when I do upload anything. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, that's probably where I'm most active, so do head over there as well. And I hope that you have a great rest of the month. With it being summer holidays, I may not, I'm trying to talk fast now because my battery's low. With it being the summer holidays, I may not do any other videos in terms of crafting or recipes, but we'll see. If I do get a chance, I will do something, but if not, I will see you next month for the August roundup. Bye.